All right, so we've looked at distance formula. Today we're going to look at the midpoint. For midpoint, there is a formula right here. And honestly, we are going to type that all into decimals. But for me, I'm going to remember the midpoint. And this is how I remember it. My song says, midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. All right, so you're going to say it with me. Midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. So you know I'm going to ask you, midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. Midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. Midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. All right, so you don't have to know it because it's given to you, but for me, you will need to know it. All right, so now that you know that, great thing about this is that you can just put it straight up in the calculator. Of course, you can probably even do this in your head, but you can put it right into the calculator. What am I adding together and dividing by 2? I'm adding the x coordinates together, dividing those by 2. That's going to give me the x coordinate. I'm adding the y coordinates together and dividing that by 2 is going to give me the y coordinates. So different representations, the questions they might ask you, they might give you 2 points and say, hey, find the midpoint of these 2 points. So what is the midpoint of these 2 points? What do I do? Midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. Midpoint, midpoint, what do I do? Add them together and divide by 2. Okay, so you can see I put x and y so I can be ready to add them together and do what? Divide by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my divide by 2 right now so that I am ready to go. All right, so what do? I add them together and divide by 2. All right, so what am I adding together? The x's. So let's go ahead and if it makes it easier, let's label the x's. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2, just like we did with distance. So adding the x's together, that's these 2 numbers. What am I going to do? Add them together, which is -7 plus -10, exactly as I see them, and divide them by 2. And then what am I doing with the y's? I'm also adding those together and dividing by 2. So the y values are 8 plus -2, and you go type it in as exact as you can, and you see it gives you an answer. So midpoint, midpoint, what do? Add them together and divide by 2, and I get -8.5 for my x and 3 for my y. Now, what I want you to do is actually think about whether that makes sense. So to see whether that makes sense with coordinates, what I'm going to do is really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and put them in. So you're going to type in your 2 coordinates, which were -7, 8. And then on this one, I had -10, -2. And you're going to look at this distance right here. Does it make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna make this nice and big, and you can see the numbers on the side here. Does it make sense for the middle of this line to be -8.53? So -8, -8.5, so it's over here. All right, there, I made it go up by 1s. All right, so -8.5, which is around here, so up here, and then 3. 3 is right here. That makes no sense. Oh, that's because that is the midpoint. I'm sorry. Let's take that out. All right, my bad. All right, so I'm going to put this point back. I don't even have to look because I forgot that it's done that for me. Does it make sense that this is the middle? From here to here and here to here is the same? Yeah, it looks like that to me. All right, that distance looks like the middle, which means I've done it correctly. So just quickly, just double check to make sure that you've done it. Which brings us into the next point. What if they give you a coordinate plane? And again, every time you do a question, please erase everything, start from scratch, because this is the only way you practice and get good. If you just delete it, it's going to not give you the practice that you need. All right, so from a coordinate plane, find the midpoint of this line BC. So we're going to guesstimate real quick before we find the midpoint. That's such a bad line. That the middle is around here. Ish, maybe here. All right, somewhere around there. So I'm looking at it to be -1 and I don't know, -0.5. I don't know, something like that. So if I get something similar to that, I know that I'm okay. So what do I do again? I need to start off with what? Coordinates. So I'm going to put my coordinates for B, which is -3x, and then what's the y value? 0. And then for C, which is 1, -1. All right, midpoint, midpoint, what do? I add those together and divide by 2. So I start off with my coordinates. All right, so this is the answer that I want it to be. Oops. Going full screen. All right, then since I'm going to add something together, divide by 2, I go ahead and do divide right now, so there's no issue. And because I'm dividing by 2 on both, I can go ahead and type that in, divide, and again by 2, put it at the bottom. All right, so I'm ready to go. All right, what am I adding and dividing by 2? So, and the order does not matter. So -3, just if you start somewhere, just keep there. -3 and 1. So -3 plus 1. And then what else am I adding and dividing by 2? My y coordinate. So these two numbers right here. So that's going to be, if I started from this top one, start from that one again. So 0 plus -1. All right, so midpoint, what do I get? And that makes sense. -1, -0.5. That's really what I had almost guessed right. So this is my middle piece. And that midpoint is -1, -0.5. So midpoint, what do? I add them together and divide by 2. All right, so you go ahead and do example 3. Let's practice.